Yo, what's up? So I wanted to make a video discussing the newest floor of Tower of Adversity, the Overdrive zone, as it's been out for 3 days and people have kind of come to the consensus that it's whale bait, or if you don't have a particular character, it's impossible or extremely hard to do. And I disagree with that. I think there are a variety of teams that each floor allows you to use, and I'm just going to go ahead and show or make a guide showing some strategies and teams that you go ahead and use. So for the first floor, I had to read the buff as it gives context to the teams that you go ahead and use. The enemy's Glacial and Spectral resistance are reduced by 10%, and they have their Havoc and Arrow resistance increased by 10%, meaning you don't want to bring Havoc or Arrow characters as the enemies will naturally just take less damage. The vibration strength depletion rate of coordinated attacks is increased by 100%. Hitting a target with a coordinated attack gives all team members 5% resonance skill damage bonus for 5 seconds, stacking up to a total of 24 times, meaning 120% skill damage bonus. And this will reset its duration every time you re-trigger the skill, aka hitting a coordinated attack. And for the enemies, it's a Cyan Feathered Heron, a Violet Feathered Heron, a Fusion Prison, and a Havoc Prison. This kind of just reiterates the point. Please do not bring these elements, as the enemy not only have natural resistances to them, but they also have a buffed resistance from the area effect. For teams, I would suggest obviously Jinshi if you have her, but we're assuming that you don't, so you can use Ling Yang with Sanhua, a normal Ling Yang team, or if you have Zeshi, you can also use her, or something that I've been thinking of. I can't test it right now, but you could do this team with Yuhu, the 4-star that's coming up on the Jian banner, as this team will be pretty usable, pretty good, as she buffs coordinated attacks, and that she will just be swapping between her and Sanhua. So that will be a crazy team. I'm actually probably going to try that out. And for this floor, it's basically the same exact buff, but instead of coordinated attacks, you want to do counter attacks, as this will give you your skill damage buff. And it's only a Havoc enemy, so you can use like electro characters here if you want to like use a Yinlin, and you want to use Yinlin with Ling Yang, or you want to use Yinlin with Jinshi. You can do that. Outside of that, this floor is pretty simple. These enemies basically spawn right next to each other, like they're just touching each other permanently. Just kill the turtles first and then kill the birds. It's quite simple. You have 4 minutes to do that. Not very hard whatsoever. And this is just the crownless from the hologram fight. So once you know how to do that, it will be pretty simple to go ahead and pass. Just one boss, 4 minutes to do it. As for the Echoing Tower, this one's buff is arrow resistance and electro resistance are reduced by 10%, and their fusion resistance and havoc resistance are increased. When any resonator receives healing, their damage taken is reduced by 30%. Resistance to interruption is enhanced for 4 seconds. Retriggering this effect resets its duration. Whenever a resonator defeats an enemy, they gain 10% heavy attack damage bonus and resonance liberation damage bonus, lasting till the end of the battle. Now, this one is actually pretty difficult if you're not using Jian, as grouping these like turtles and the cruise wings are pretty difficult, I would say. But once you have enough damage on, like, let's say a Zhang Liao who was free, like, this is mine. This is mine, and I completed this floor with like 20 seconds left. So if you can make Zhang Liao who's just better than this, obviously mine's not very good. If you do one that's better than this, you will pass the floor pretty easily. Just kill the small ones, then kill the big ones. You will be gaining so much damage bonus from this that by the time the Inferno Rider comes, if you have like 50 seconds on the clock left, you will kill him because you've been stacking up so many buffs from killing all of these. As for the second floor, this one is the easier of the floors, at least that's what I think. It's going to be the same exact buff. for the top one at least, but casting Resonance Liberation or hitting the enemy with dodge counters applies a stagnation effect for 3 seconds and marks the target. Damage dealt to the marked targets is increased by 30%. The mark lasts for 10 seconds. This effect has a cooldown of 6 seconds, which is just a crazy burst of damage, right? When coordinated attacks hit, the target's attribute resistance is reduced by 10 for 3 seconds, stacking up to 10 times. Retriggering the effect resets the duration, which means if you have a coordinated attacker on your team like Yanlin, Yuan Wu, things like that, you will just get a free minus 100% resistance on enemies permanently if you keep up your coordinated attacks. Obviously, the coordinated attackers that we have in the game right now are Yinlin, Marina, Sashi, Mortefi, Baiji also has a few, and then Yuan Wu. I don't think I'm missing anyone, but those people have, obviously Jian obviously has his coordinated attacks on his outro as well. So those are the characters that will be very good here, and this one's definitely the easier of the two. As for the Hazard Tower, this one's enemies havoc and fusion resistance are reduced by 10%, and their glacial and electro resistance are increased by 10%. When resonators cast Resonance Liberation or hit target with a dodge counter, resonance skill cooldowns is reduced by 5 seconds. This meaning you need to dodge and then hit them back. You can't just dodge. I figured that out. So when resonators cast resonance skill, they gain 80% liberation damage. When resonators cast their ult, they gain 80% resonance skill damage. So if you use your skill, your ult does significantly more damage. If you use your ult, your skill does significantly more damage. Now, one thing with this, if you swap off the field, these effects will end. So with characters like Chong-Li, you typically want to use her skill into Forte, swap off while the Forte is going off, and swap back in to use her ult. If you do that, you will lose the 80% ult damage buff from using the skill, because it ends when you swap off, so don't swap off. As for teams, I found that running Havoc Rover or Chixia as the carries for the team works perfectly fine. My Havoc Rover is actually terrible.
Let me be there for everyone.
And
as we head toward our shared future, leaving the past behind.
Please stop talking. And she does perfectly fine, right? There's a level 75 weapon. She's capable of passing this without much stress. And I would say this one's the harder floor, right? This one with the Light Crusher and the Fallacy of No Return, as these guys are actually really aggressive. This one's annoying, but it's not difficult. If you have any nuker, just immediately use it on the Clang Bangs. Like, use your healer, get the buffs, and then immediately ult. Just take these guys out. Because if you let them stay alive, they will freeze you over and over and over again, and they will stall a lot of time. As for the buff, it's the same exact thing. The Tempest Mensis is not a big issue. This is probably the third easiest floor as soon as you get the Clank Bangs out of the way. So I will do a run of this floor with my Havoc Rover, showing that I can actually pass this with a level 75 weapon on my Havoc Rover with a, well, I would say a pretty...
Let me be there for everyone.
Okay, never mind, I'm not clicking that again. Pretty pathetic build. And that's about it.
The caged bird now. to glory. My blade burns. I am craft new. Together we vanish. Beckon the divine flame. You will obey. Together we vanish. Mine eye. In war with time. Together we vanish. My blade be reduced to cinders. None shall whisper. One of the sound. Mine eye. I engraft you new. Together we vanish. Triumph resounds. Who's the caged bird now? Down with the curtain! One with the sound. Sever! Astral modulation. Together we vanish. Minds are severed. Beckon the divine flame. You will obey. One with the sound. Perish in flames. Together we vanish. Mind in war with time. Be reduced